Do you like blood, violence, Rob Zombie, and House of 1000 Corpses? Good, because you're in the right place. What's up, horror fam? Steven, A.K.A. Bojangles here. And come closer, my friends. I have something scary to show you. Two young couples are traveling across the country to explore and investigate obscure roadside attractions to write about in their travel guide book they've been working on for fellow travelers looking to drive cross country.
I don't drive cross country.
But if you did.
But I don't.
Which leads them to Captain Spaulding's Museum of Monsters and Mayhem, where they learn about local legend Dr. Satan. They get very excited.
Maybe he lives next door to you.
Calm down, it was all right.
To investigate the mysterious death site of Dr. Satan. Along the way, they pick up a hitchhiker played by none other than Rob Zombie's wife, Sheri Moon Zombie.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Who takes on the role of Baby Firefly.
If someone needs to be killed, you kill them.
Shortly after the group falls victim to a flat tire. Stranded by the road, Little Miss Firefly offers up some great dance moves and a solution.
Yeah, my brother's got a tow truck. He can come get your car.
Now the group is at the mercy of the Firefly family, and it turns out this family has no mercy. It's up to the group of friends to survive this family of psychopaths, but you have to wonder who will survive and what will be left of them. Let's take a look back at Rob Zombie's House of 1000 Corpses and go over 10 things you may have not known about the movie. Rob Zombie found inspiration for the movie while working with Universal Studios to design a haunted attraction for their Halloween Horror Nights event.
I'm at Universal Studios at Halloween Horror Nights, baby. Let's do it.
The first year was such a success that they wanted Zombie to come back and design another attraction, and this is where he came up with the idea for House of 1000 Corpses. He thought that was a pretty kick-ass title, so he decided that he was going to write a movie to go along with it.
But things sort of fall into place.
But there was one big problem. Knowing that House of 1000 Corpses would be an R-rated film, Universal didn't want their haunted attraction to be associated with the production since it was a ride that was open to all ages. So they changed the title of the attraction to The Great American Nightmare. Just think, attendees of the Great American Nightmare at the time had absolutely no clue that they were actually riding through the murder ride, which is featured in House of 1000 Corpses. How freaking cool is that? But the problems were just beginning for Zombie. After filming had wrapped, House of 1000 Corpses then had to sit on a shelf for a couple of years because Zombie couldn't find a distributor for the film. Universal Studios didn't want anything to do with it after the chairman watched it and decided that, hey man, this is way too brutal for us.
Because the chairman of Universal said that the movie was a celebration of depravity, and she just couldn't be a part of that.
So MGM threw their hat in the ring, picked up the ball, thought they were going to run with it, and decided that, hey man, we should have went with an air attack, and they passed.
And we're at MGM for a minute, and then I made some comment jokingly about MGM having no morals, so they don't have a problem releasing the film. But they didn't find that to be very funny, so then they kicked me out of there.
Luckily for Zombie, Lionsgate then came along and decided that they would be the ones to release the film.
Finally ended up at Lionsgate.
Things were looking pretty bright, but only for a moment. With Lionsgate deciding to give House of 1000 Corpses an official home, it's understandable that Zombie was pretty dang happy.
I guess you just can't bother those people. Nothing bothers them.
Unfortunately, he may have been a little bit over-enthusiastic when he made that last statement. You see, the original cut of House of 1000 Corpses was reported to have a 105-minute long runtime, which is 16 minutes longer than the 89-minute cut-to-death version that, hey, we've all seen.
Most of all, you.
Zombie knew that the original version wouldn't be able to secure an R rating and would likely end up being an NC-17, which is one of the reasons so many companies passed on the film to begin with. So while searching for a distributor, he made cuts to the film to make it more MPAA friendly, which also resulted in a more audience-friendly runtime. So what was cut from the film? Well, A lot of stuff. There was going to be much more gore. There was going to be a snuff video even featuring the creation of Fish Boy. Ugh. Fish Boy! Actually, later in the film, during the underground tunnel scenes, Denise was going to stumble upon Fish Boy in a room filled with some of Dr. Satan's failed experiments, whom are now loading up on their omega-3 fatty acids by feasting on Fish Boy himself. Speaking of Dr. Satan, during the murder ride in the beginning of the film, Captain Spaulding originally didn't give out the name of the deranged doctor.
Quentin Quayle, A.K.A. Dr. Satan.
Instead, later in the film, it was going to be revealed that Grandpa Hugo was actually Dr. Satan all along. This ended up being cut, which is why Hugo doesn't have as much screen time as some of the other characters.
You be quiet! You're gonna wake up Grandma!
This wasn't the only thing that was different in the final minutes of the movie either. Originally, a prologue was attached to the film featuring men in biohazard suits removing corpses from the Firefly family's backyard. Think of something like the body pits in the beginning of Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. But in some of the early promotional footage, you do get to sneak peek at the body pits. Now keep in mind, this is just a few alterations that were made to the film. But the big question is whether or not we'll ever get to see this lost footage, and the future's looking a little bit bleak on that. In an interview with Fangoria magazine, Zombie had this to say on the lost footage. Quote, "I don't think it will ever be released, because I don't think anyone knows where any of it is, truthfully. Even when they put together the DVD, which was 13 years ago, we couldn't find anything because they had shot 200 interviews in the time since the shoot. We had behind the scenes stuff, makeup tests, all these different things, and nobody could find it. It was all lost. That's why I think whatever exists is all that's going to ever exist." End quote. Which of the lost footage would you like to see the most? Leave a comment below and let me know. And hey, while you're down there, go ahead and that like button. Zombie originally wanted to take on the role of Dr. Wolfenstein, but he knew no matter how much makeup he slathered on, he's always just going to look like good old Rob Zombie. But he did manage to sneak his way into the movie by appearing in a few brief scenes as Dr. Wolfenstein's assistant. If you look really close, you can also spot Rob Zombie and his little brother in some missing persons posters. The picture used was actually a photo of the two siblings taken when they were just little kids. People have a really hard time believing this, but House of a Thousand Corpses wasn't exactly a low-budget flick. While no one knows the true budget, the highest estimates put it at $14 million.
Wow. I don't know what that movie cost. 14 million maybe? But so much of it was like, you know, there was just money for everything.
Zombie admitted that Universal definitely spoiled him with that amount of money, and with it being his first feature film, he totally mismanaged the funding.
Because working at Universal, I swear to God, whatever we asked for, they're like, no problem. Like, I was like, really? You just ask for something and more money magically appears?
Which led to some major issues, because with Zombie absolutely plowing through the budget, he had to do some shocking things to raise some more money for the film. He didn't have the cash to shoot the ending that he wanted for the movie. So he shot what he's even referred to as a terrible ending and used it to trick the folks at Universal. Of course, they didn't like what they saw, and they said that they would definitely need to shoot a different ending. So they gave Zombie some more funding, the funding that he needed to shoot the original ending that he always wanted. We all know and love Sig Haig as Captain Spaulding, and it is absolutely impossible to picture anyone else in that role. But Haig wasn't the only actor considered for the position. Red West, whom is mostly known for his role in Roadhouse, and John Polito, whom is mostly known for his role in The Crow, were also in the running to don the infamous clown makeup that would eventually become our beloved Captain Spaulding. The Firefly's family home is the same house that was used in Dolly Parton's The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, and is actually part of the Universal Studios tour. This made the filming process difficult because Universal continued their tours while the film was in production. Are you freaking serious? So, while trying to shoot the film, tram rides filled with tourists would oftentimes come through, which would bring filming to a complete standstill. Circumstances like this may be why Zombie wasn't able to film all of the scenes he needed to complete the movie while working with Universal, and opted to shoot some scenes at his own house after being booted from Universal and MGM.
I actually shot stuff to finish the movie in my house with a video camera.
Oh my
so
God.
So sometimes it looks like a stylistic choice that the film goes to, Super 8 or something. That's
How
just
arty.
Me with a camcorder going, we have to finish this movie at all costs. And since I was friends with all the actors, they came in and,
Right.
Scenes like his own wife participating in necrophilia with a corpse was shot in Zombie's own basement with a handheld camera, which I guess would kind of make Rob Zombie the ultimate cuck.
It says you're a dead
Some actors pulled a little bit of double duty. Bill Moseley doesn't only play Otis Driftwood, but also takes on the role of the news reporter. Sheri Moon Zombie, in addition to playing baby Firefly, took on the role of a woman pushing a baby stroller when Denise calls home to her dad. Zombie knew that the MPAA was absolutely going to tear House of a Thousand Corpses apart, so he essentially shot two different versions of the film at the same time. For instance, the robbery scene in the beginning of the movie, he shot a version with blood and one without blood. He would also shoot some scenes with natural light, and then he would go back and film those same scenes with a red light to give it more of an intense effect. This was all just a way to kind of protect himself because he knew the MPAA was going to be knocking on his door. But the most shocking thing of all is, at the end of its theatrical run, House of a Thousand Corpses had a per theater average of $666. Come on, man. I mean, you can't even make this shit up, dude. That is just chef's kiss. The ride's not over, though. The family is still out there, and they have the fight of their life ahead of them. Hit that subscribe button and get in the passenger seat, baby, because next, we're looking at the Devil's Rejects.
I don't like chicken, and I hate clowns.